What's up, guys? Last video, we got this porch all built, we got it sheathed, and it is now ready for finishes. So we're gonna move on to getting our residential eave drip edge here. We're gonna get our Benjamin Opdyke in this video. We're gonna get our panels installed, and we're gonna move on to what I think is the last kind of big details for the standing seam metal roof that we haven't done yet, and that is hip caps, sidewall flashings, and we've got a lot of tricky details on that end that are all coming together. So stay tuned. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Bear with me.
Screw gun. I mean, that would have been the ultimate.
That would have been, yes, but I don't have one right now, so.
That's perfect. Okay, that's gonna be good. All right, Greg. Just gonna go ahead and close that. Yeah, right there. It's always nice doing details that you know nobody is ever going to see. As soon as gutters are done, as soon as the roof caps all this, you'll never see it, but I just kind of like the challenge. Trim's done. Now time for vapor dry. Let's get this thing waterproofed and ready for metal.
We'll run with that.
Good enough for now. I'm glad the camera's right there though.
Oh yeah, getting a nice shot.
Come my way just right there.
Okay.
Yeah?
Sure.
And just run it right alongside there.
I somehow lost my squeegee.
Once again, guys, I don't think there's any way you could do this so easily and cleanly with an ice and water. And this having this nice tight corner, it just makes when we get to doing our steel panels and trims and whatnot, it's so nice. And I think it makes it less susceptible to tearing or ripping when, you know, you can't get the ice and water super tight and then you go to shove something in there, it will tear. This, it's just money. I love it. It works so good. And that's what's, I think, so amazing too, Greg, is how well it sticks. We are dried in, no water coming in here. All right, we've had a week of crappy weather, so we got this covered with the Benjamin Opdyke Vapor Dry, and then we kind of let this roof sit. We've already come out here. We took a quick diagonal dimension, which, you know, you guys have seen us do that a ton of times. Use the calculator to figure the exact pitch, which we knew. And then we went ahead and we just real quickly ripped down all of our pieces. So we'll start all the way out here at the far corner, and we'll work all the way down. So next thing that we need to do is grab a couple quick measurements, get our layout every 16 inches. And then Greg just went and ran and got our Cedar breather, which trust me guys, two things I wanna address. One, the Vapor Dry is not necessary. With WeatherLogic, with zip panels, like those are integrated panels. You don't need to do this. We did it strictly because I wanted to. I've never used the product. Benjamin Opdyke had reached out to me about using it at some point, and I thought, when better to test it, to use it, to play with it on my building, so that when the time comes that I do need this, like let's say we do, we go and use a radiant barrier sheathing like we did on the Best House barn door a little while back, that does not have an integrated WRB. I had to put some ice and water on it. I won't do that. I will use this. So that is why I've used that product. Why I'm using this product here is because it's giving me a thin layer for air to travel inside this sheathing. And I know I'm not like open. It's not like I have a super ventilated roof, but don't kid yourself. The steel is not airtight. It's gonna be watertight from, the elements, but air can still move through it. And this is just giving me something to keep the steel off of the product, just allowing extra drying. And we're only talking about condensation drying. So that's what we're using this for. I just wanted to clear that up because in the roof videos, a lot of people were really curious why we use specifically this when we're using the WeatherLogic. And we did not tape this WeatherLogic since we knew we were putting this on. So save yourself some time. The WeatherLogic is still a better panel than just standard OSB. So that's why I still went with it on the porch. Heck yeah, let's go. Grab one more up there, would you? Got it. Didn't use my fist. Nice. Think how happy everyone will be. And let's see if we're where we want to be. Look at that. We got our rib right up to the center of the building. It's almost like we laid it out.
Yeah, it's like we planned it.
Cool. Nice thing is now that we got this hip done, we got a ton of straights, which we've already made up, so this will be going really quickly. Now, the big thing with this part of the video, guys, is that laying the panels, nothing's different. They get made the same, we install them the same, but we're gonna be installing hip trims and wall flashing trims, so that's really where the meat and potatoes of this part of the video is. So we're gonna go ahead, we'll get a bunch of cool, sexy clips of just installing this. I know, construction's sexy, especially with guys like Greg. Look at him today in that flannel. Do you even work, Greg? You look like literally you came from a job interview or something.
I did actually.
Wait, what? Nice thing with the hip panels is all we need to do is notch them out and slice them. We don't have to do any of the weird bends or folds. We're just cutting the triangle off.
Look at that fit.
Immaculate, dude. That's like me and those white True Works on Easter. Yeah, I bet that'd be good enough. Good.
Good.
Good. Great. Grand.
Smooth as butter, man. You did a great job.
Yes, thank you for that praise, dude. I come to the job site every morning hoping that it's my day. What the? That's on you.
No, that's right there.
Right where, dude?
It's okay, man. We all make mistakes.
I hate you.
I'm teaching you a valuable lesson here.
Not to always trust you.
No.
What's
It's
the lesson?
It's about forgiveness.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna work on it tomorrow because today I don't forgive you. This is unforgivable sin here.
Right. So what if I get in a car wreck and I die? How would you feel about that?
Find a new worker, man. That sucks. Nice. Looks like it worked out. Even our little striations are all coming together in points. So when we get this hip on, it'll look really nice and uniform, which is always the goal. Easy. What's for lunch today, Greg?
I got sandwiches in the old truck. And
So they're
some chips.
getting warm?
I got my windows down.
Oh. Get it, dog. Not a bad morning. This area right here, we kind of messed up. I had left the full rib here because I was like, well, why tear it off? We're gonna be doing our trim, it's gonna get covered, it doesn't really matter. Normally we would rip this, do a bend up, and I kind of remembered why, because I've got a kick-out flashing that I want to install here against the wall, and this rib is not gonna allow me to do that. So what Greg's idea was, well, why don't we just pull this panel up, we will cut where the trim is, hem that solid, and then we can slide this up. That's maybe why Greg, okay, you know what? I got an idea. So our goal is we want a kick-out flash so that when water comes down our trim that's gonna go here, down the wall, the roof, whatever, we want to kick out into the gutter. And this is a little excessive probably right now, but we're gonna leave it there until we get our siding and get all this done, and then we can trim it back to make it a little bit less obtrusive. But the goal is for it to just kick the water into my gutter instead of running down the wall right here. This is notoriously the worst spot in any remodel. When you tear siding off, this is where the rot is. So we're gonna do our best to kick the water away. There'll be a little bit of a potential for back here moisture, so we will do some, caulking here, but you can see this goes out on an angle. So it will be very minimal. Most of the water will be directed here into the kick-out flash, and then this will just go down like normal. Since we're not gonna be lapped here on this hem, we'll run a bead of butyl here, and then we'll get it put down. All right, I'm gonna run here. I got my through the wall. All right, and then I'm also going to, I don't know if this really matters, but just to prevent,
It'll help.
it can't hurt.
Maybe it could.
All right, so now, let's set this in here. Okay, go ahead and set it down, big guy. Nice and easy. All right, yep, set her down.
Nice.
I'm gonna crack your knuckles, dude. Go higher if you can. It's all right. But we have this kick-out flashing down here. What we're gonna do is this is our sidewall flashing, and it goes up the sidewall, hence sidewall flashing, and we're gonna put it on a piece of Z-bar that will get butyled and sealed to the deck of the roof. So what I need to do is find out where the face of this trim is. Greg's gonna do the same all the way at the top. Just got real dark out, dude.
Beware of the gingers.
They're coming. All right, so now we're just gonna take our Z-bar, we're gonna line up the outside edge on the mark that we made. Greg, feel free to go in just a scotch, but not much. So we're like right, maybe not even a quarter in from that minor.
I'm like, yeah, like a 3/16 or so.
All right. All right. So that is the line we will snap for this, the butyl, and for this piece of trim right here. Go ahead. I think this will be just fine. It's a little bit weird, but
Oh boy.
let's get a fresh one.
Let's get a fresh one.
The birds are chirping. It's not that quiet.
Yeah, it's getting brighter out now.
I mean, if that's literally all we got, that's the lamest excuse for anything. The world's still here.
Oh.
I was expecting it to all end, you know?
Oh.
That's what everybody said. With that there, Greg, I'm gonna go ahead and cut my trim, all right?
You do what you want, boo.
All right, boo. It's definitely, you know, you can kind of see it maybe. We'll just eyeball it. Now, do the same up on your end.
Okay.
Just put your square on it. All right, yep, I like it. This one we're gonna leave. We're just gonna let this thing sit here and do its thing. We'll end up tape sealing this back to the wall, but I don't think we have to do it right now, do we? There we go. Right, okay, give me a bend over. Come on. Okay, good enough. Good enough.
Got you, brother. Oh, I did put those screws back in, didn't I?
I'm ready.
Fingers. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm. Got a little bit of ooze out here, but that's all good. Let's keep it not too awkward, okay?
Okay.
Thank you for keeping it not awkward.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, now we're gonna do our best to follow that snappy line, Greg. Not bad. A little bit rounded, maybe. Good?
Yep.
The real kicker is if I make them just slightly too big, whew, then it doesn't work very well. Dang, Greg, you did a great job.
Did I?
Yeah, that looks awesome, man.
I don't know if I did or not, to be honest.
No, you did great. Here, you're doing such a good job. Let me just feed you and.
I see what you're doing there. I want you to experience it with me, you know?
All right, there's that. So this is not a vented ridge, obviously. We don't really have ventilation. We're not insulating or heating our porch, so it's going to just be closed off. So that's why we went with these Z closures instead of the Snap Z vented ridge like we did up top. Took a little bit more time to cut, to prepare, but I like it because when you are closing this off, because we have all these bends and folds and cuts that we had to do to the piece, it does a really good job of sealing this off both the bottom and along the side where we have our fold. So now we can go ahead and screw these all down and we can get our trims prepared to go up against the wall. Do that. It's like it grew there, dude. Okay? You like it?
Yep.
Yeah, this will all get covered by hip, and then the hip will get kind of bent up the wall. And then we'll have a little piece of flashing trim that comes down and kind of is cut like a V that covers everything that we can seal. So that's like our final flash. But we don't want the hip to go under. That would look really bad. This kind of, the best look, I think. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I'm gonna hold this so it doesn't go anywhere. You just work it. No, it's not down here.
Okay, just making sure.
Wait. Okay, now we've got our wall connections all up. We got our end wall, we got our side wall. We're gonna go ahead and throw some more nails in it, and then we're gonna move on to hip caps. And yes, the hip caps will go right over top of all these. And this one's been keeping me up at night just because I didn't know how I wanted to do it. But now that it's here, I think I got her figured out. All right, so we kind of moved through that first hip over there, just kind of making sure we had everything figured out. We're on to this second hip, and back here we've got two hips that come in together up on the corner of the building. Not ideal, I don't like that. However, it just worked out in this design, and it also kind of gave me some challenges to figure out, like to make that all work and look good up there at the corner. So I was like, you know what, let's do it. So we've got this one started. We've got our butyl starting to run. I've got marks where all these Z bars are gonna go. We've got them cut up, and we've got a whole nother hip to do. So you'll see a lot of this earlier stuff develop as the video goes on, but we are ready now to go ahead and start installing these, and Greg is gonna finish the butyl up there. In order to make our marks so we know where to put our Z, we're just gonna take a piece of hip. Hey Greg, do you wanna flip it around? I've got my point, you can take it all the way up. And we've already got these marks so we know where to set it. So we're just gonna take the center line of our hip trim and line it up with the corner, and then with obviously our corner of the hip down here. That's pretty good for me.
Oh, really?
Well, no, you need to go, and then mark on the top of that sidewall trim.
Here?
Yeah, and then come on down the line and do whatever ones you don't have yet. So this just gives us our location indication where we're gonna put our Z-bar.
I like that. Location
indication. Patent pending phrase. All right, so now that that's there, Greg can finish the butyl. I'm gonna go ahead and work on this bottom, which is kind of a pain, but I think important just to finish off this detail, because if you don't detail this bottom area, that's where you're gonna get a bird to get up in here. So instead of just running our Z's like this, I'm also gonna continue them around and close up this whole end. So I've already cut these pieces down here, and you can see I've cut them so that they come around. Unfortunately, back in the day, I used to try to one piece this, and you can. The problem being that this is a compound miter, so they're not on the same plane. If there was a flat wraparound in a flat plane, it would be easy, but because we wrap around, it's just not very doable. So unfortunately, I got to two-piece it for quality control, and I've got exactly where my pieces I want them. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of place them into my butyl, trying to get them right where I want it. You can see this is where my frame ends, which means right about here is as far as I can go out with a screw, because there's nothing really to screw into underneath of this. So we'll have to do a little bit of a different connection there, but we can screw out to about here. And that gets us locked down pretty good. So in order to fasten this, what we're gonna do is just use rivets. And we should be able to rivet all the way through and keep it fairly tight. So that's the first one, and hopefully it's where we want it, because that's kind of there for now. And this is the one that we have to kind of do a little bit. You see I left this piece long and wrapped it around. That's gonna be a rivet point Problem is we're dealing with a little bit of a, like I said, compound miter. I can't see where my line is. We're gonna mark here. Because this is not straight, I do need to cut this on a slight angle. Yeah.
The cat.
Yeah, the cat likes us, huh? It's unfortunate because I can never quite get it exactly tight. Greg, do you want some pieces?
Butyl.
Oh, you want butyl? Okay, 1 second. It's a very tough angle to get this tightened down. Really, I'm just trying to press into that butyl as much as possible. So you can see this butyl oozing out. That's how you know you're getting a good seal, and I mean, you don't have to worry about water getting up there. Okay. Now, at least something is not really gonna get in there. But now what that gives us is the ability to take our hip trim. I've already cut my angle, so I know the angle of the roof, which when we get over there, I'll show you how I figure that out. It's quite simple. And now I can bend these over, and Greg will get these on, and we'll slide this trim on. So that's the hardest part, I think, of the whole hip. So that's already done now. Okay, this is always difficult. You have to bend and push and pull at the same time. Try and keep the metal nice and tight. I'm just creating myself a hem so that we can lock onto those trims that we just put in. So once we get it bent over, we got this little bit to deal with, and then we just kind of use this as an opportunity because somebody might look under here later. We make a nice little clean miter. And when I put this on, hopefully somebody will appreciate that down the road. Okay. All right, so we're not over closing that. Now we can do a quick test fit maybe. So there. So that's gonna lock on nice, got a nice cut around, everything looks good there. And what this is gonna be, now this is all nice and sealed off. I do wish I kind of cut this off a little bit. I'm just kind of afraid. I don't know if this is gonna be yeah, that's not bad. So now this is all cleaned up, sealed down, butyled, so we're not gonna get any ice damming back up into here. And this is gonna get locked down so I can pull my plastics. And once Greg's done up there, we'll just slide this right over top of all of our Z's. And it'll be a nice fastener-free, clean hip detail. And what I like about this versus a fastener through the actual top, like we will do a lot of times on a exposed fastener roof, is that this just sits in there and it's stress-free. So you don't get all that oil canning, you don't get the heat expansion or contraction, you know, movement that makes the metals just look all crappy. This will always look very nice and clean. So, all right, we got all of our Z-bars on, so we're gonna go ahead and try to fish this bad boy up, and we gotta keep it locked on.
There. Good there, good there. Okay.
All right, let's go.
Let's feed it.
All right, just get me over top of those.
All right. This is gonna be a fun one.
So before we send this up the roof, because we're gonna be overlapping this trim, and this is why it was so hard for you, by the way, that's why it made me think about it. Like, why was this so much harder? It's because when I put the notches on, it kind of...
It goes over it.
Yeah. So that's on me, man. We're gonna make this easier for you.
Give me a second, I gotta bring my heart rate down.
So we're just gonna do a 6-inch notch. Hopefully that should be good based on the other side, Greg.
Yes.
All right, big dog, let's try it again. I might even be able to just slide it right up there now that I got this.
Maybe, we're gonna see.
We're gonna see. See? That right there, that one you got pushed down?
It's like it's meant to be.
So much easier.
Wow.
Look at that. So that is nice, it's locked down, it's not gonna go anywhere, and there's no exposed fastener. I like it, everything looks great. So what we're gonna do is this is now ready for the second piece up to the top, but since I have to put my shoes on to get up there and not get the roof too dirty, we'll go ahead and we'll move on the other hip and we'll start fresh, and you'll see from start to finish, and we'll get caught back up to where we're at and we'll go up there. Now listen, guys, don't give me a hard time about this one piece. I had inchitis. It's all under the hip. It's not gonna matter, but yeah, I did kind of mess that up.
Not really.
Actually, I didn't mess it up.
No, I mean, it was kind of a team effort
It was,
there.
yeah, I appreciate you taking some responsibility for that, man.
See, I marked it what it was supposed to be, but then we forgot the 1-inch hem on the bottom, so when we hemmed it,
Yeah.
it kind of shifted it down a whole inch because we still went off those same marks instead of
But
remarking it.
it's fine.
But you know what? You'll get that on the big jobs.
It's just a visual thing.
No, I think it's acceptable.
So first thing we're gonna do when we start off is I'm gonna line up my point to the point of my hip. Okay, right there. Yep. All right, so that is where this is gonna set, so we can then mark on the rib where the edges are. This is when I wanna get the angle of my cut here. So we're just going to take my nice Pica pencil, it works great for this, and we're just gonna keep it straight. Just give myself a little bit of a line, tracing the edge of the roof, and then that's gonna give me the angle that I'm gonna cut this at. And it may not be a perfectly straight line because, you know, I'm kind of hand drawing it, but then I can use my square to kind of get the overall line I was trying to create and make it pretty dang nice. And then what I need to do for my fold is I'm just going to, I always use the hip valley line. It just seems to work out really nice. And this will be my fold. So nothing too scientific, but now that can be folded, and that'll be my hem over this trim. But now we'll go ahead and move into getting all these Z-bars on, the butyl tape, and then this bottom detail that takes quite a bit of work to get it all cut up. All right, so in order to do this area, all I kind of do is we made our marks where our hip is gonna be. So I'm just gonna line my piece with a little bit extra material, obviously, on my marks. And I just always try to use, you know, simple things, simple tactics. And I'm just gonna mark where this edge of my roof is. That's gonna give me a line. I'll stay off that line just a little bit. Let's see, it's gonna connect this. And I always take out just a little bit more material on my miters. That way I can kind of fold her around. All right, so now I'm just gonna line this back up on my mark where I want it. We'll just get where it lines up with the edge of the roof, make a mark, and then I'm gonna leave this 1 inch long so that I have something to rivet in the future. We come back. Because I've learned now on the last two, it's opened up at the top. Why don't I just kind of play that game and instead of cutting a straight 90 and bending it, let's kind of make my 90 mark and then use my own intuition and eyeballs based on what I've seen on the last couple and just cut this shy of that. Now when this goes on here, hopefully this miters out at a slight angle. So when this piece comes together, this will be closed up even nicer. So I'm really liking that. That was a good addition. If you're not learning, you're dying. So every time you do something, I always try to think, I kind of did that one poorly. Let's go ahead and do it again and see what happens. All right, this is ready for butyl and get installed, and I'll get this one figured out next. So the Z-bar comes in 10-foot pieces, and we do have to cut it down to the right size. I just made myself a mark on my wood right here, so I can just very quickly, without having to pull a tape, get the measurement I need. And then we're just gonna use the Swenson Z-bar shear. And yeah, you gotta watch your fingers because they are gonna be kind of close. I don't know if there's a better way to do this, but I don't think it's really that unsafe, honestly.
So you are the safety switch.
I am the safety switch. That's right.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
You take your finger right off.
Okay, was that 10? So now that we have them cut down to size, I do need to do a little bit more work because we're gonna fit these in between our hips on an angle. So I actually have to do some cutting and I'll show you on one, and then I'm gonna I always try to get into a little bit of like an assembly line practice anytime we're doing mass production, which I guess we're only doing like 12 pieces, still enough to try to save some time. What I need to do is take an inch off both sides. And what's gonna happen is I'm making this so the ribs are coming down on an angle 45 degrees. So I need to bend the top this way, and then we're gonna bend the bottom piece the other way. And this will make sense. I'm just eyeballing 45. Doesn't have to be perfect. As long as I take more than 45, I'm golden. If I take less, then it won't fit. Okay, so now if this was my hip coming down and this is gonna be my Z-bar going here, my ribs of my roof are coming down at a 45-degree angle off of there. So I need to do 6 pieces of this for each side, and we're just gonna go ahead and do this. This is probably not the funnest content, but I just wanted to show you what we have to do to each piece going up the hip in order for it to fit in and work for us. My process is always do all the same things at once so you don't get confused. So I'm doing all the same bends using the same color snips. So I'm also reducing having to change my snips, and then I'll come back and do the other cut with the other color snips after. I don't know if it, really saves me a ton of time, but it just makes it easier in my brain. Come on, Beetle. All right, I'm gonna leave that paper on so I can test fit. So I'm gonna start with one piece first. I don't wanna get both of them in because they might not be exactly where I want them. This is because I do not have any framing underneath, so I can't screw this piece down, but I want to try to suck this as tight as possible just to get my butyl to seal properly, and I don't want it flopping around. Okay, this is where I need to do a little bit of work because I need to get this to fit in here nice. I don't want to drill through my fingertips. Ah! Just joking. Okay. The smart people out there are watching this video. They're noticing that this Z is a little bit bigger than this Z. It's because these were custom bent with bigger pieces of metal than these pieces. So it doesn't change anything. It just means that we have a bigger flange to deal with, which I actually like because it's more surface area for my butyl, but it just happened to be we ran out of this size of Z here. So you're gonna see that little bit of difference. Doesn't really change the install, just the look. For you guys, it'll look the exact same when it's all said and done. All right, now time to bend this guy here, which is gonna go around that piece of trim I just finished up at the bottom. But where this line is coming all the way out here, we need to make a small mark so I can see it better. And we're gonna flip this trim over. The reason being, we do not wanna leave these hems. It's almost impossible, not impossible, but to bend this over with those there. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut them out of my way. Now, depending on when you make this cut here, you'll see how this piece is curled up. This is the one we will do second. This one's already curled down, so that's where we're gonna start. And I'm just gonna keep my hand benders just off my line. I don't want them exactly. And I need to put pressure right here while I bend it and kind of push up into it to get the tightest bend possible. If you don't do that, then it will kind of like warp around. It won't bend really nicely. So just a little tip for you. And then we're gonna soft close this. We're not looking to pinch it completely tight. And then we can do the other side. All right, now before we finish this, we've got this overhang. It's where we will just kind of eyeball a nice clean miter. And I'm just looking where I think it's gonna close up eventually, like that. And then I can just go from something to the point. So when we refer to an open hem, we're not looking to close this entirely. It's still open, and that's because we need to get this over top of our trims before we finish it. But this piece is now ready to go. Greg, I knocked over your coffee in the back of the lift.
That's why I put it there so it wouldn't get knocked.
Who did that?
Careful.
Who did that?
Careful.
Was that you?
What?
Did you sabotage that on purpose?
Yep.
It's clean and we're headed directly to the corner. So I'd say that's success. Now this is not gonna get any fasteners through the top, but we will do fasteners up there where it's lapped over that Z, and that's where we'll do a rivet and it'll be hidden underneath the overlap of the next piece. So I'm gonna get my shoes changed. We're gonna get up there and we're gonna finish where that all comes together in the corner and wrap this up. There, so we're not looking to just smash this home, but we're looking to just go ahead and now kind of close up this hem a little bit more. So that's all locked on, not going anywhere. So I'm gonna set this right on top of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Get it all the way up, something like that. All right, and then I just need this dimension right here. What is this?
You mean to?
What is that?
I mean,
5 1/8 probably.
Looks like 5 1/8.
That's what it should be. So 49 inches from my good side. That's my point. And then we're coming back 5 1/8. One, two, three.
That's beautiful. Nah, we're a little bit off there, aren't we?
Now let's go ahead and just check it. See about where we are. I don't care about that. That's all good. I can snip that out. So that's where you like it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just hold that there. We'll make a little bit extra snip here, about right there on that pointish. Am I right?
Okay.
There. Okay.
And you got this mark down here,
Wait, what mark?
where it's going to intersect. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that heads up. All right, next thing we need to do is these bottoms. I'm gonna have to cut them open, which really just depends on where we wanna do that here. So now that we have this opened up, let me go ahead and trim these corners so we don't scratch unnecessarily. Little tricks you learn after you scratch a bunch of metal. So that's about 1 inch.
You're just going to make a little V snip.
It's gonna make a little V snip. That one's at 1 inch. This one's at about 1.25 inches. This is just so we don't run into our rivet when we put this trim back on. So here, we know this is probably the worst spot here. And then really, I just want any water to funnel this way. And we're just gonna keep this here, even though I don't think it's necessary. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Yep. Now I'm catching here. Okay. Good, good, good. All right, keep going.
All right, give me 1 second.
We're gonna be to the finish line. I just gotta get over this last thing, okay?
Don't move it. I got it.
Right there. We need to get that off the old hand before I smear it somewhere, like Greg's pants. Wouldn't be on purpose, Greg. This is good. We're right on our bend here, so we can rivet this down here. This is good. I feel like you could come up just a hair, maybe?
Think so?
Maybe.
But you're glad you have those offset benders, don't you? Aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna bend it too tight there where that rivet is. Otherwise it will telegraph through. Money up here, brother.
Yeah. So you
Mark
want-
the center.
want this guy here.
Okay. And I'm gonna mark this. Dude, we're on the home stretch, my friend. Get yourself notched up.
Notched up.
Yo, notched up. Okay. Wait, okay, we're still good. Hold on. Okay, go ahead. Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Okay, go ahead, nice and easy. Keep going. We're missing something, or we're catching on something. Oh, there we go. Nice. I got a little bit on my finger, but it put us to the promised land.
We up all the way?
Hold on. Yeah, that's about as far as we're gonna go. Bro, I don't even think I need to rivet this.
I don't think so either.
This is one of those details that I knew how I wanted to do it, kind of, but we've never done a hipped corner. I always try to offset just because it's easier not having multiple hips coming in the same point. When you start layering all those metals, making sure that they lay nice. But Greg, I think this turned out pretty good, buddy.
Yeah, I think you did a pretty good job.
I mean, we took a long time. It's not like it took 10 minutes to do. It took us, you know, I don't know, all morning.
An appropriate time.
I think so. Well, that wraps up the porch, guys. Super stoked. Greg and I have been waiting to get this done since we started the project, I feel like, because I always know how good a porch will make a building stand out, just add so much character. And I think this one in particular just really added to the design of this structure, which, you know, obviously I'm partial to. I think it looks awesome. I think that the way the standing seam turned out, the way that those mitered hips came together, everything was just perfect. And none of that happens the day you do it. It all starts way back at the beginning when you're laying out foundation, when you're putting the framing up. So, you know, it's been a culmination of a lot of hard work, and I'm just super stoked to see that all come together. So if you enjoyed this, if you are excited about this, even remotely as much as I am, hit that thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. And if you guys want to follow along with the rest of this build, I know we've had a lot of videos, but we're now down to finishes. We're going to have stone starting next. We've got garage doors coming in a week and a half, and then we're going to move on to our smart side siding, which, man, I love the blue, but I can't wait to get the color on this building, the finished color, and to take you guys through all that. So please hit that subscribe over here, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks a lot.